Hi. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Just burning some frankincense, a little incense match for you to clear the space a little bit. This reading is meant to be very gentle for you. So I took a day off yesterday in preparation, as I sometimes do, to clear my energy field. And now we're back at it. And the topic today is when it's over and you're reconciling both the blood and the beauty. So this spread is meant to honor the full truth of some sort of ending, not just the heartbreak, but also the sacredness of what was, what it gave you, even maybe as it broke you. Because it always gives us something if we choose to see it from that perspective. And I feel like, from my own personal experience, that is, the only thing that softens, ironically, the pain of lost love is more love. And it both breaks you open even more and also heals you simultaneously. But every other approach I've ever tried to take in life, the escapism route, the trying to force yourself to move on with somebody else, maybe, distractions, coping mechanisms, lying to yourself, suppression, repression, oppression, all of the different ways that we run away from the important things that we feel. And these things are important because they mattered and they still matter, or else you wouldn't be feeling so much. When you don't care, you don't feel things the same way, right? And sometimes I think that it can be hard for us to honor the fullness of something and create that closure or reconciliation for ourselves, where we hold space to remember the love, what it was before it started unraveling, maybe, or before it got to the point where two people decided that they just weren't on the same page. And we also want to honor the wounds and the lessons and what you're also reclaiming of yourself as you move forwards. So that being said, we're going to look at the beauty that was real first, the beauty that was real and genuinely present in this chapter or connection, because that's the thing too. It could be just a chapter that you're closing. It doesn't have to be something that's closing out for good. So keep that in mind and take it how it resonates for you, okay? Then we're going to look at the wound that still bleeds, what part is still raw or grieving that we can hold a little bit of space for without rushing to move on. The lesson that may be etched in the ending. So this is going to be more of like a soul lesson, karmic closure, or maybe a deep insight, but something from a higher perspective that can be extracted. What you are now free to return to or call back to yourself, and the blessing that you can carry forward. So that will be kind of like the medicine or the truth that you'll integrate, and it will walk with you into what is next. Because no matter how something goes or closes, there's always a part of the story that nourishes the future. And sometimes we miss that part because we are too busy chaining ourselves to the past, right? But there is this beautiful process of death and rebirth and how closing time, right? Like every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And that doesn't have to be a new beginning with somebody else. It could just be whatever your next chapter is from here, whatever your next phase or season holds. But I do think that when we frame it in a little bit more of a tender way, where we honor everything that might be coming up within us, the pain, the anger maybe, what didn't feel fair, what we're only mad about because we're hurting, and we're only hurting about because we still love, maybe. There's a lot of polarities and shades between those polarities within humans. And if anything is going to bring out the full array of human experience and feeling, it's most likely going to be love, and potentially the closure of something where we loved really well, really hard, really fully. Okay. So hopefully what you take from this spread is that no matter what you feel at this time has been lost, first of all, something beautiful has been gained, whether you can see it yet or not. I promise you that. And in time you will see it, and you will hopefully have gratitude for it. But for now, I just want you to rest in the knowledge that if you have loved, you have won. If you have loved, you have been blessed. And sometimes I think that we forget what a privilege it is to have our heart broken, because it means that it was loved and it was held, and it loved and it held intimately enough to be demolished by somebody else. And I know that that sounds backwards to some of you, but trust me, it is a blessing. And the more you move through life, I think the more we realize that it's the depth and richness of the experience and what we give of ourselves to it. And through giving to it, we learn about ourselves and we gain, and what it gives to us. And I think that that continues to unfold as we move forwards out of things. So I hope that I can do this particular closure, whether it is of a full closure of a specific connection, or just a chapter or phase within one that you're moving through that feels a little bit difficult. I hope I can do it justice and hold space for you here. So let's get into this. So the beauty that was real, what love, sacred truth, or just simple, honest joy was genuinely present in this connection or chapter? What can we honor that was good without romanticizing or erasing the pain? It would be the lovers, of course. Okay, so we have the lovers here. I'm going to cover a little bit of it because YouTube is a boner killer. And we also have this oracle card, number 40, deliverance, release, relief, a fresh approach, liberation from obstruction, finding a solution, and exhilaration. Oh man, I really want to cry all of a sudden. She says with tears already in her fucking eyes. Okay. Well, being a Pisces will never cease to amaze me, by the way, because how? How do we do this? Okay. The beauty that was real. How do I say this? It's really pretty simple. I don't mean the love was simple, but the beauty that was real was the unconditional, all-consuming, sacred love. And it set you free in some sort of way. It was sent to do that. This is the kind of love that you can't help but be changed by. It takes you out of one place and it puts you somewhere else before you even realize what's going on. Your whole world is different, chaotic sometimes, but this kind of love brings a deep shift that is needed, and it happens in the very core of us, the Lovers and Deliverance. It feels very Plutonian with this Deliverance card, kind of like the Judgment. The Judgment card is what I feel with that. Or even the Tower. So Scorpionic and Gemini energy here. That just, a lot came off of that. A lot came off of that. So what else do you want to tell me about the beauty that was real or genuinely present in this connection, Spirit? So no matter what happened, babes, Spirit or your higher self or the universe, whatever energy is flowing through to give you a message that you need today, they want you to know that this love was absolutely everything that you felt and thought that it was and more. You're not crazy, and you never were. And it doesn't matter how this unfolded, and it doesn't matter how it ended. It was what you thought. And I don't want you to let anybody tell you different, okay? If this is very clear message, if someone tries to make you anxious or gaslight you about what this is, or if you start to feel crazy, uncertain, or deluded, you need to know that you're right about it. But the Lovers is a very complex sort of intimacy and way of being known and knowing someone. It's a very intimate way of living and knowing life as an extension because, like I said, the Lovers touches you in very deep places and it changes you. So there is no doubt in my mind that you have experienced ecstasy, bliss, hysteria, madness, the highs and the lows, the shadow and the gold. And you've probably seen a very broad range of how yourself and another can show up here in this experience. And that is also a gift. So tell me a little more about the Lovers and Deliverance. Is there anything specific that they were delivered from here? Queen of Swords. For some of you, this pulled you back, into your heart, into a vulnerable place. Wow. Yeah. For some of you, both you and this person were pulled back into a vulnerable place. Here. you might have been quite triggered, which would not be strange at all by this connection. But I feel like maybe for some of you, you had been in a place where you were very in your mental body for a while. So you could have been going through something before this, through a phase where you were either in a relationship that really put you in your head or just did not arouse you in a deep, like, heart and soul sort of way, or else you were in a phase of your life where you had kind of given up on love, or you were seeing things from a very pragmatic or practical standpoint. Some of you were a little bit emotionally unattached or ambivalent even. I'm kind of getting this as like a space of coldness towards love because either you just haven't focused on it in a while, or the focus that you have given it has really hurt you. Like with the Queen of Swords, she has strong discernment because she has experienced some shit. She has learned through experience, and she can trust. She can trust what she knows because she literally, you know, it was right in front of her. She touched it with her own two hands. She felt it. But the Chariot is Cancer and Strength is Leo. And it's in reverse, which talks about, you know, becoming vulnerable. And I think that whatever this is, something that is extremely beautiful about it, this thing that's ending or closing a chapter, I better cover, so we'll just leave the little sexy legs there. It guided you back to your heart in a way here. It reminded you what it was like to feel, to work for something because you're truly passionate about it, to leap off the cliff's ledge without having all the answers, to feel stimulated in all the right ways, and to have a very pure, it feels like, part of you shaken back to life or shaken awake here. This has guided you back. It's clarified your emotional truth, your emotional will. And that doesn't have to be surrounding this person. This experience could have, for instance, like led you back and really clarified what matters in your life, what brings you joy, what do you want to move towards in life, what do you want to experience more of in life, what do you need to accept that you've grown out of in order to do that. You know, how did this connection align with you? How did it not align with you? Generally, this deliverance card, it talks about the end of a long dry spell, like a thunderstorm in nature, gathering on the horizon. And it talks about the accumulation of energy and tension before a storm breaks to the point where it feels almost unbearable, and then a sudden release of pent-up energy delivers what has been oppressed. It talks very much about the need for awareness and grounding also, because you can get swept off your feet by this overwhelming sense of relief, really, and euphoria is what this represents. This is a love coming in that made you believe that love exists again. So it probably brought in a renewal and a freshness into your heart. But oftentimes after this, after a storm, right, washes a lot of things away, there's also sometimes debris on the ground that needs to be sorted through or cleaned up. And so part of this energy is also that it helps you identify and clear away what is vital and what is destructive. in your thoughts and your actions, what may have created a heavy atmosphere that led up to this breaking point, the need for deliverance. So I feel that this love caused you to reflect a lot, and you strengthened your ability to learn from your actions and gain clarity to not repeat the same mistakes in the future. Not mistakes that you made in this connection necessarily, but whatever the source of past tensions was, you're able to observe. I feel like this allowed you to observe them from a place of greater understanding. So maybe this person was a mirror. The lovers is often very mirrored energy, where you see yourself in the other person to such a great degree. Sometimes you get very triggered by what you see because it's something that the ego does not want to recognize in the self. And we can project a lot onto the other person. But once we realize that we're really just looking at ourselves, then we understand that new levels of acceptance and intimacy, growth, and love are possible. This also talks about open-heartedness and compassion, forgiveness being a very healing force, forgiveness of yourself and of others. So this could have taught you patience and forgiveness as well. It could have forced you to let go of the past and its turmoil and to maybe clear karmic lessons. Or maybe this storm caused you to take firmer root and grow into a deeper and more profound liberation of your heart or your spirit. But I do feel like there was hurt or misunderstanding that remained unaddressed within you and maybe this person. And it was time to acknowledge that, to heal or clear up the wounds so that you could move forwards. And I think that this connection gave you an opportunity to do that somehow, even if it was pulling it to the surface, even if it was coming down like a chaotic storm and leaving a bunch of, mess on the ground to be sorted through. It still pulled that to the surface for you. And that is something that is a source of gratitude. So let's look at the wound that still bleeds. What part of you is still hurting, raw, or grieving? So let's hold some space for the ache without rushing to kind of like move on. So let's see what's here. Oh man. Oh man. You're a big lover boy, lover girl, hey? Welcome to the club. Yeah, you're definitely one of my people if this reading is for you. Because this hits. This is slapping a little too hard, if you know what I'm saying. So the wound that still bleeds or grieves is answer the call. What is your soul calling you to do with the King of Cups in reverse? This makes me want to cry. This reminds me of that quote, grief is just love with no place to go. It feels like a lot of you, especially your heart space and your intuitive space, is being called to love, to crack open, to spill over the edges, to answer the call, not just a call, not just your call, but our call, the call to love. Because everything in life is either love or a cry for it. That is what we are here to do, to be, to share. And, it's breaking my heart a little bit. The part of you that is still raw is the part of you that longs to run to this. but doesn't know how. The King of Cups in reverse is an energy of repressing your emotions, repressing what you feel, holding it in. The part of you that's grieving is the part that wants to express this love, still wants to give love in the direction of this. And you're still reconciling that. It could be quite overwhelming right now. The King of Cups in the upright is pretty good at regulating their own emotional experience. But the King of Cups in reverse is feeling so much. They're almost like at their capacity, and they have a very great capacity to feel things intensely, deeply, and sometimes many things simultaneously, like holding opposites at once. So the King of Cups may feel like, you know how when you're grieving, you go through those many phases, right? There's anger, there's bargaining, there's acceptance, there's the actual sadness. There's all of these things. It feels like the King of Cups in reverse is they're feeling everything at once, but in a very intense and tumultuous way as well. And I'm getting that it just doesn't have anywhere to go. That's why this wound is bleeding, because it is being called to a place that for some reason you feel you can't return to. It's almost like wanting to go home, but having like lost your house in a fire or a storm. The thing is, you rooted into yourself here in a way that you weren't before this experience. You carry that home with you inside now. And I'm not saying that that replaces this person or this connection, but you are not orphaned. You tell me about this King of Cups in reverse and answer the call. Or tell me about what part of my collective is still grieving at this time. But there's a part of you that very much felt and feels still that this is for you. And with the Lovers connection, that is not strange. The Lovers and the Chariot, no less, with strength. I mean, this is love on steroids. And with the Chariot, it's like, it's your kryptonite. It's written in your soul, like intertwined. By choice, though, not an entanglement. It's not the same thing. It's something that your souls chose. And there's this emotional certainty or emotional will. It's a drive because it is a certainty of what you feel. And it's this very powerful desire to move towards it, even when it scares you, even when it doesn't make sense. The King of Cups in reverse here is having a very difficult time hiding something, the truth of how they feel. Yeah. There's still this sense of being a bit of a wounded warrior here with the Nine of Wands. There's a part of you that really wants to express the truth here, but you're holding it in, but it's hurting you to hold it in. I think that it is kind of important for you to express whatever it is that you're feeling in some way. I just feel like you're going to be reaching a breaking point, and there will need to be some sort of emotional release. It's not healthy to hold inside, and it won't lessen. The only way out is through, so the only way to shift something or alchemize it is to work right through the core of it and to feel the thing and let it move through you. And so right now, the wound that is still hurting or very much raw is you're protecting some sort of lie. Maybe you're acting like you don't care, acting like you're very cut off or unfeeling, perhaps. But I think it's just because there is this fear or a lack of trust or faith. It's coming through as like a wariness. I heard, and a weariness. So you could be tired and a little bit jaded, and I'm not sure if that has anything to do with this specific connection or if it's everything that came before that led up to the storm, and then this person provided the deliverance. What is this Ace of Swords in reverse? The Eight of Wands in reverse. What is the Eight of Wands in reverse? Okay. The Four of Swords in reverse, the Star, and the Five of Pentacles. There's something here that you very much don't feel clear on. You feel as though you do not have the answer to something, and there's deep healing happening, but it's happening through something is coming up from your subconscious. You're waking up in quite a severe way. There's very strong judgment energy here. Plutonian energy. There's also Aquarius showing up here as well. Like Uranus energy, and Pisces very strong too. But there's something you don't have the answer to, either practically or from a higher perspective. You have not been able to reconcile something. It still grieves you. It makes you feel out in the cold. Like if you could just make sense of something, you would put your mind at ease. And I see that this is a process that you're invested in right now. Something is healing. So know that is happening, okay? I think that might be something different for all of you. I think you're still wondering what this is, why it wasn't able to move forwards. Maybe what you didn't see. Feels like you're aware that there's something you didn't see and you might still not see. And there's something here where you don't feel like you have the whole picture, but there's some sort of lie about you not pushing the energy forwards or you not pushing forwards. It's not true that you're just sitting in a state of unrest out in the cold. There's deep healing that's happening here. And I feel like once you're done, you are going to do something with that healing that's quite significant. You might return to this person or something from the past. With that Six of Cups. But you feel like you can't until you learn the truth of something. And it could be some sort of insecurity, a source of insecurity for you or someone that you don't want something to repeat, or you don't want something maybe to be aggravated here. So the lesson that's etched in this ending, this would be like a soul lesson, a deep insight, a karmic closure, something that you can extract, kind of like meaning from the mess, or you know that quote that's like, make my chaos count, make this mess matter. It's kind of like that. So it's not to justify the pain, but to evolve from it. So I'm going to clear a couple of these, actually, just these ones. So we can still see a little bit. What is the most prominent lesson in this ending? Joy with the Eight of Swords in reverse. Wow. Number 42, so it's a number 6. There's something here about you can transform with somebody without needing to free them or be their savior. And you can also free and save yourself. But there's something beautiful here about witnessing the growth in another without needing to control it. Free yourself from fears and allow someone else to do the same without needing to prove that you're not a threat. Or, you know, it's almost like there's something about this connection that, and this ending, maybe for some of you specifically, the ending of this connection, that showed you or is showing you that you are a source of your own joy and that that is your responsibility and your birthright. And while you can witness and appreciate another person's journey as well and allow them into yours, no other person outside of yourself is responsible for your happiness, and they can't provide it for you. And there may have been some sort of fear surrounding giving, like being reliable for yourself or providing emotional fulfillment for yourself. Joy can be a destination, but it can also be the vehicle that you use to get to that destination. Faith, grace, gratitude, and love all merge together at different times in different amounts to create joy. And in this card, within this card, there is love, growth, but also tears and change and self-realization, because that is how you crack yourself open to even more awareness, more happiness, more joy, because joy is something that is deeply rooted here. And so there's something about you choose what you take from an experience as well, and whether it takes you away from yourself or whether it ends up ultimately guiding you back to yourself is really how you choose to look at it, right? It was just 40 minutes and 44 seconds as well, so 444 might be significant for you. There's a lesson to not have any expectations, but to live in the moment, to be mindful in the present, to gracefully release, and to embrace the blank slate. And understand that by letting go, you're creating a space for a person or situation that will resonate with you exactly where you are now, whether that is this thing returning to you in a healed state or a transformed state or not. But after the letting go, once you reach this place of personal joy, it's kind of like the 9 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles in one. It's saying that you had to face your fears surrounding true emotional fulfillment and stability and commitment and union, serious union. This made you look at that. And you were unraveling those fears with somebody else. You were helping each other unpack them, although it was not always easy. You were always coming home. And this connection was a safe and secure place to nourish and facilitate your growth. If you look at it from the expanded meaning, this person shared a part of your path with you. And they brought you answers that you had been seeking, or the situation led you to the answers that you had been seeking, or some sort of answer that you'd been seeking for some time. It feels like you may not have the answer to that, like the key to that answer just yet. You may receive it more as you heal or as you grieve and release. Is there anything else you want to say about that, the lesson here? I think it's like how to invest in things in such a way that even when they end, what you give returns to you. There is no love lost. You know, even if someone walks away, you are still left with a full spirit, with success, with the knowledge of who you are and the joy that comes from knowing that you're alive, you can love, you haven't been jaded, broken, or marred, or taken so far from yourself that you don't still have the potential to open up and to bravely give to somebody else and allow them to give to you in some sort of way. And whether that was always consistent or totally balanced here isn't really the point. No one is perfect, and no love is perfect. No human love is perfect. But it's always perfect for us in that moment. It's what we need. Otherwise, we wouldn't attract it because it is aligned with some element of us, right? So this showed you how to love yourself more deeply as well, for sure. And to exist more freely. You may have really had to face some fears and some insecurities to take this opportunity. You may have really had to step up, and even if you don't feel that it completely worked out to your benefit, something here did or is benefiting you in a really deep and profound kind of way. But there is a strong sense of yearning and longing here, and being very much in the grief, not all the time, but you haven't fully moved through that yet, what there is to process through. And the weight of that feels quite heavy. You could be actively revisiting the past and kind of moving through that, like going back and seeing even where you didn't see it clearly, where your defenses maybe or projections didn't allow you to fully show up. There could be regret surrounding that, and that feels quite raw at this time. It's almost like the part of you that you, for some reason, didn't feel like you could give while this was still together is now looking at itself, and it just wants nothing more than to be given. So you're gaining insight here and perspective, because for some of you, it feels like when you were in this situation, there was fear that you were overcoming. Some of you are scared of happiness, or you didn't feel deserving of happiness and love and joy, fulfillment and safety, because it's maybe not what you're used to. And so you could have said that it can't be what it is, you know. If I jump, it's going to be an injustice. This is just something that I'm strongly attracted to or pulled to, but it's going to hurt me. I don't know, but there's a sense of withholding emotionally here. Emotionally intimate. So not talking about your feelings, not expressing your feelings, not even being real with yourself about the depth of them, just not being able to work through them and share them without feeling really overwhelmed and tumultuous and confused and kind of thrown off. So you could have felt very ungrounded by this situation, like we were talking about here, how the storm kind of like, yes, it's clarifying, but it can also be very disorienting in the moment. The beautiful thing about this is that it's like you wanted so bad, I feel, to give something while you were in this connection, and you struggled to trust, maybe because of something from your past previous to this person. There could have been trust issues, and which we all have, right? And this kind of connection will bring that out of you because it provokes such a strong love and reaction in you, and a strong pull, because it's the recognition of a soul's counterpart in another. And that's not something that's just light. That's not like, oh, I saw a cute barista at Starbucks this morning when I was grabbing my dirty chai. It's like, no, this is your soul wakes up and says, I know you. We've met before. We were always supposed to meet again. And it's kind of like those people where when you meet them, you have the strangest sense that falling in love with them is inevitable. That it has already been written, that it will unfold. And it's because a part of you already knows. You have gained, or you will gain, some sort of insight that allows your soul to expand. And I think that you are closing out some sort of karma or just very oppressive energy that had been holding you back and weighing you down. Because I feel like you are someone that has so much love and affection to give, and you have a lot of wisdom to share as well. You want to show up in a powerful way for your partner. You want to know them, that there was something that had been preventing you from sharing the best of yourself. Maybe even within this connection, but the thing is, this connection made you want to. It challenged the fear to the point that it actually made you grapple with it. It took you to a vulnerable place where you had to face the fear and look at where you weren't comfortable loving yourself just yet, to the degree that you desire and deserve to love as well and be loved. It's like there was something, again, that had either been detached, you'd either kind of detached from it, numbed it out, become ambivalent or bored, given up on something, or just nothing had struck you or sparked you in such a way that was strong enough to call you from the heart, to literally pull from the heart of you. And it made you reckon with the fears and the resistance to that love. So there's a lot of lessons that are still unfolding, and I feel like this closure will come in chapters and pockets of its own from day to day. So what you're now free to reclaim, what power, piece of yourself, or maybe a dream can return to you, now that this is over, this is where the becoming begins again here. So, okay, we have the Tower in reverse with increase, number 42, another number 42. So number 4242 could be significant. Increase says sharing, reaping rewards, overflow, expansion, flowering, encouragement, fertile ground, and abundance. Wow. And the Tower in reverse. There is something that was very ungrounding and chaotic about this connection, and that doesn't mean that it was bad. I need you to know that. It's coming through very much as like this was a huge alchemical operation, but the operation room was the heart. The operation room was the soul. This is not something that was superficial. This was not, a little Botox injection. This was open heart surgery. And there's something that had been incredibly destructive in your life. And it was holding you in a state of contraction where you were not increasing in accordance to your worth and your value. And maybe it's because you weren't really seeing that clearly. But there's something here where now you do know. You know how abundant and expansive you are. And you are going to be moving very shortly here, if you're not already picking up on this, into a phase of great increase. Potentially financial gain, but I feel like this is also your health and just your wealth overall. What you feel like there will be an increase in the things that you feel bring value to your life is what I feel with that. So this is a piece of yourself that you can return to now that this is over. So it feels as though this connection, it came in and it did provide a tower energy. It did shake you up. But it did so to provide that cleansing effect, that clearing effect, or maybe even to knock some things into integration or into your awareness to be integrated, to purge out or to show you where things were misaligned, where the resistance was to these really good things. Because the increase card talks about all that is good and true, all that is nourishing and uplifting, both within yourself and for others. And it talks about golden opportunities, but it also talks about abundantly sharing, kind of paying it forward, giving just as much, if not more, than you receive, with sincerity, with generosity, without expectation of reward or recognition. There's a boldness of heart here that you're coming back to. It's a boldness of generosity. It's a sweetness that is coming through kind of as like a rebellion. A rebellion against greed and small-mindedness and hate and resentment, apathy, oppression, shrinking, contracting. It's magic and inner richness that you're spreading around in the face of that. It's kind of the energy of being in the fullness of spring, you know, somewhere just teeming with life and sounds and noises and just smells and, you know, things being born. A sort of grand expression of beauty. Nature doesn't hold back, right? When she goes through a phase of increase, like spring, she lets it explode out of her and overflow from her in such a way that we all benefit. We all see the beauty. It's impossible not to. And so you're moving back into a place where you're willing to share because you realize that it's not going to break you. You realize that there is nothing to be afraid of. Nothing can be taken from you when you are this abundant by nature. And when you are choosing to share, when you are choosing to give, when you are inspired to support others to grow to the fullest realization of their potential, with compassion, with peace, you realize, you know, you discover your own unlimited capacity to nurture both yourself and others. This is very much the Empress energy. So you are a healer, and I feel like this connection shook you up. I mean, we all have the capacity to heal, right? And be healers, but this was meant to shake you up, and you were meant to heal something in yourself or free yourself, liberate yourself from something, become inspired and shaken out of whatever the status quo was and called by your very heart towards joy and abundance and love and something beautiful. This awoke that in you. And just because this is ending now, or because it's ended for now, whatever your circumstances are, it doesn't mean that you lost all of that. That power, that remembrance of self, that dream, that vision, that frequency, that inspiration, you can still use it as a muse. You can still carry it forwards with you. That hasn't been lost. It's just the beginning. It's just the first couple steps of you really existing and shining and moving from that place. And they're highlighting that's really important for you to focus on claiming right now. Just because you're losing one thing, right? And I say quote unquote because I'm not really sure what your exact situation with this is, what over means for you, but just because something is closing out or ending or transforming, it doesn't mean that you can't experience abundance and expansion and increase in joy simultaneously. This is the kind of connection and overall experience that shows you how much capacity you have, like the King of Cups, to feel everything. Sometimes all at once, sometimes to its absolute greatest extent, and survive and have your life actually be richer as a result of that. Even there is nothing to be afraid of. So the blessing that you can carry forwards, what medicine or truth from this chapter is meant to walk with you into what is next. So this is where we are now going to honor the part of the story that will nourish your future without keeping you chained in an unhealthy or attached way to the past. Wow. You guys, I really want you to, if you can, to not hold regret in your heart about this connection. It gave you so much, and it might be a little bit before you're able to fully feel that in a way that feels like a blessing and not a curse. And I get that, trust me. I get that more than you know. But Lemuria, creating heaven on earth, it's happening with the Hierophant in reverse. There is some sort of outdated belief that was it was a structure in your life, possibly something traditional that had been passed down, or a belief system maybe that wasn't your own, and by that I just mean you yourself did not explore, instigate, and commit to this particular way of life. It's something that was more passed down, either generational, familial, ancestral, karmic, again, traditional, religious, cultural, whatever it is. The Hierophant in reverse as a blessing or medicine is that there is something that you are adhering to in a very big way in your life that was not supporting you. It was not a supportive structure. It wasn't aligned with you, and it wasn't serving you. And I feel like it was actually deteriorating. I'm getting this energy of you becoming quite small in whatever this structure is. And you're not meant to be small. You're meant to be in this state of love, joy, and abundance, and generosity, and gratitude, because that is what creates heaven on earth, is embodying that and sharing it and spreading it and making it contagious almost. Like I said, everything is either love or a cry for it. And so the best way that we can bring everything into the state where we're not crying out for love, but we are embodying and experiencing it as a whole, is to embody and share it generously. In Lemuria, it was said that all of life worked in harmony. Everyone was seen as equal. Gaia was deeply honored. We were reverent to earth. And it talks about heaven on earth. And you being a part of the transition who at a soul level is devoted to creating this kind of harmony now by doing the work on yourself. And sometimes that entails situations where we get overwhelmed by the state of things, the state of hurt people, the state of the collective. But this is ultimately about encouragement to keep on holding a clear vision of love and creating that, not in the future, but in the now, in your community, your family, your workplace, or just within yourself and your intimate connections. But it's basically about holding that and sharing it, knowing that it's possible to get to that place. you're not alone either. There are people that are doing what you're doing and people that are remembering, but the only way to heal the world around us is to first heal ourselves. And that is the blessing that you're carrying forwards. You've removed some sort of structure that was preventing you from fully healing. And this does feel incredibly restrictive and fixed. It's Taurian energy. This is Mars. It was not allowing you to be in the fullness, the full embodiment of your being. Again, of your expansive and abundant nature. There's things that you have been meant to experience and you're ready to experience now. And I feel that in order to make space for them, there's a commitment that needed to end to make space, to allow fresh air, for something new to breathe, something that feels so much more wide open and free, not oppressive at all, somewhere where you don't need to be afraid, where that cry of love has been alleviated, and there is no yearning and there is no longing and there is no separation from ourselves, from source, from one another. This relationship, this connection, it provided you with some sort of truth or energy that you've used to heal something in yourself through breaking out of something that you had outgrown. And what you're growing into within yourself, but then simultaneously bringing to the world around you is incredibly beautiful. So let me see if there's anything else that they want to highlight before I let you go. But it does feel tender, don't get me wrong. It's tender because it's deep. It's tender because it does mean something and it does matter. And I think that's being highlighted in how much it has actually given you. You might just be realizing this now as you grieve, because I do see you going back kind of through the past from a more exposed place and looking at or extracting the truth of everything maybe that you weren't able to fully perceive or feel the first time through. And it feels like things are hitting you, but it's not how you would expect, is what it feels like. I think you're very much being cracked open in a deeply spiritual way by whatever this is. Can you tell me more about what the Hierophant was? Six of Wands in reverse. Something that did not recognize you. Something that just was not. It's like being put in a one-size-fits-all thing that does not fit you. And it does nothing for you. It doesn't flatter you. It does not fit you. It's not one size fits all. It's like building your life on a structure that somebody else laid out for you, but being a completely different person than them. And what worked for them may not have been wrong, but it's just not what works for you. And it's not meant to be, because how boring would that be if we were all the exact same, right? But this is something that's felt oppressive because you've been living inside of it, in the confines of this structure, feeling misunderstood, feeling unsuccessful, feeling unrecognized and incompetent. And it's because it doesn't allow you to showcase or to even embody some of the best parts of yourself. So freeing yourself from this is going to allow you to, honestly, to build something quite beautiful. And in comparison, the structure feels unbridled. It feels liberating, it feels exciting, it feels arousing, it feels inspiring, passionate. but still safe and secure. Just, these are 4 walls that you have put up around you. You've chosen what makes you feel safe, and it is a perfect fit. And moving forwards, some sort of blessing that you're carrying with you out of this chapter is allowing you to do that, allowing you to see what you want these 4 walls to be made of, where you want to build, who you want to let in, who you want to share this state of unbridled joy, of freedom, of celebration, of love, of heaven on earth with. What really sees you and can do you justice. Is there anything else before I sign off here? It feels like there's something that's incomplete, but I'm not sure that it's tarot that wants to come through. I feel like I want to get a card from this deck here, which is called, what's it called? The Threads of Fate? Yeah, Threads of Fate Oracle. I think this is the first Oracle deck that I ever got. And it's still beautiful. Let's see. Can I get one final message here to close off this reading for my collective? So I hope that this helped you on your journey of reconciling the violence and the ecstasy, the blood and the beauty. I know it's a process. The Magi. All right. I'm going to read that from the book. I feel that this is also that one's at the bottom, and I feel for some reason very compelled to take that, so I might read both of these. But you have the Magi and movement. I feel that this correlates with that 8 of Wands in reverse that came out to clarify the Ace of Swords in reverse, the lie about there being no movement. There's something about that, and I feel like the movement is happening in terms of higher perspective. So that may or may not have been completely revealed to you yet, but I do feel like that's very much happening. So let's take a look here. Let's see. Okay, I found the Magi. Okay, so let's start with the Magi because that's the first one that came out. Then we'll do movement. So it says, the Magi indicates a period where you need to look deeper. It asks you that you examine what you think you know and then keep going. Throughout our lives, we build an infrastructure of beliefs that allows us to navigate life, but so often this system is built on top of a shaky foundation or out of weak materials. In other words, it's time to question that which you have never noticed. What beliefs inform your decisions, passions, and ambitions? Wow. Yeah, see, there's something here that has been influencing or informing you, and it was very much ready to shift so that you could be more aligned in your choices and call more things that you're passionate about towards you. It says the Magi is a seer of illusion, and in turn, they're able to cut through the fog and get to work. They may see the world similar to a mirrored funhouse, see the core of each expression, and are able to acknowledge how many different realities exist in a single moment. Being able to see these many realities is a gift. It teaches us to be less attached to a single road, but instead see where all roads meet. If we're courageous enough to see and be open to our life unfolding along any of the various roads, we invite in a magic that few get to experience. Even a balanced Magi can frustrate people. They have trickster energy in that they can see the bigger picture and may know the answer, but they will present the information to you in a way that may spin your head. They are gifted with words, and everything they say can have multiple meanings. When the Magi is unbalanced, they can be manipulative and self-seeking. They may talk down to others as they believe themselves to be greater and more knowledgeable. rather than present information meant to challenge others in the expectation that it will ultimately be empowering. The unbalanced magi presents information in a way that is meant to make the other person feel small. In fact, they may enjoy the fact that others don't understand. And then the movement card. Physical movement can quick start major shifts in our internal and external worlds. While this movement can take any form, keep in mind that the type of movement we do can invite in the emotions and experiences associated with it. Intense and vigorous movement can help us access our motivation, power, and fire, while slow and methodical movements can help us tap into our deeper feelings and is especially helpful in releasing, healing, and deeper work. When we move our body, we're allowing any stuck or stagnant energies within us to flow, bringing space for the new. What type of movement do you need? How can you incorporate it more into your life? And it also, connected to this movement card, is the snake and the dandelion, as well as the fire opal stone. So it says about the snake, just about every culture in the world has feared and revered the snake. They've become a powerful symbol of rebirth and transformation due to the shedding of their skin. But there's so much to learn about the snake, especially from how it slithers. It's taken science a long time to understand how a snake moves, and moves fast without legs. Initially, it was thought that they used their immediate environment to propel themselves forwards, like pushing off of rocks. But eventually it was revealed that they use their scales to create friction with the Earth's surface. And that friction, combined with contracting their powerful muscles, pushes them forwards. We can call on snake as a teacher for using the friction in our life as an opportunity for movement. Wow. So the lie is that you cannot move forwards, that this is meant not to deliver you, but to break you, to oppress you, but it's not. This came to set you free, to exhilarate you, to break down the resistance or the obstruction and release you into something fresh, into a solution. So it's a lie that you're not moving, and it's a lie that you cannot move, but you do need to recognize that any tension you're experiencing at this time is meant to be something that actually fuels your forward motion, not holds you back. About the dandelion, it says that this plant has gotten a reputation of being an annoying weed, but in reality, it packs a powerful punch, loaded with vitamins and minerals. It holds incredible medicine for our digestive system, in particular stomach, liver, and pancreas. It supports us by stimulating the function of each organ while simultaneously detoxifying. In other words, it gets things moving. Emotionally, the dandelion can support us in the same way. It can remove toxic imprints within your subtle bodies and attune you to a vibrant, empowered state. Some of you might want to drink dandelion tea, which is a thing, and it's very, very good for you. Very high in vitamin C, fiber, potassium, iron, zinc, magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus, I believe, as well. And then fire opal is a bright orange-red stone discovered in areas where volcanoes and hot springs have been active. Compare a volcano to our inner landscape. The lava is our life force, our passion and vibrancy. The layers of earth are the metaphorical blocks or limiting beliefs. This is a stone that helps you move through those layers of fear and shame, allowing your passion and lust for experience to take hold. Call on fire opal as a guide to restoring movement where you have stuckness. So yeah, movement is very important, especially with the magician as well. You're definitely calling something towards you, but it's like there's a call within. And so rather than looking outside of yourself, although I do think that you're doing some important work here that's giving you a lot of important insight, looking into the past, look into yourself, because that's where you're going to find what truly needs to be removed, what part of the infrastructure of beliefs that your life is built on feels shaky or weak or just misaligned. Do you trust that belief to inform your choices and your desires and ambitions, the things that you shoot for in this life. You have the ability right now to cut through the fog and see exactly where work needs to be done. And although that might be uncomfortable, it is actually meant to be a blessing to deliver and liberate you. So when you see this area that wants to work with you through tension, understand that something very beautiful is being formed through that process, like a pearl, right? Or a diamond being formed under pressure. On the other side, and even right in the now, in the process, if you can find a way to kind of reframe things, there is really beautiful stuff taking place. And ultimately, I feel, at least right now, this connection is a teacher. It's meant to be a teacher, a mirror, to help you use the friction in your life as an opportunity to push yourself into a state of overflow, expansion, and increase, and to remind you of your abundant nature and your capacity to love. So that is what I see for you. I love you so very much. I'm sending you all the warmth and genuine affection as you sort through this and work through processing and integrating. And yeah, just know that you're loved, you're brave. Love is the prerogative of the brave. And if you're hurt, it just means that you did it right, honestly. So there's that, right? Mwah. All of my love. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.